ready to get started? I'm going right here. You ready? We're going to come back to some other slides, but I want to paint a picture. I want you to visualize what's going on here. All right? Marketing majors. I need to know I have some marketing majors in here. Okay, marketing. You ready? Marketing. When you first, in the experience of my experience on the other side of a marketing company, I'm the one who hired some marketing companies to do some advertising with this computer company I was with. When you first started a marketing company, marketing people, if it's this kind of company at least, you don't get to the creative part of marketing until you've been there a while and become like a second level manager in most cases. But after you've been there at first, you get the shitty job, excuse me. And then you get a promotion and you get handed you get the chance to put together a proposal. Meaning a client's interested in hiring us, but they want a proposal. And this is exactly how you do it. And if you don't understand how to do this quickly, you won't have your proposal done in time, and you'll lose the thing. And you're probably not going to keep your job if you can't get this done in time. So you, marketing, you've just been handed this proposal. Your step one is go talk to the client so you can figure out what their needs are, so you can put a proposal together for them. And your part of this proposal is only how the advertising should be done for the next for the month that this whole thing's taking place. So the next month, this whole thing's taking place. The creative side that you wish you were in hasn't happened yet. They're also putting a proposal together on putting the TV commercial together, the radio commercial, designing the ad, the newspaper. But you've been assigned to this part of the proposal. And here's what it is. You met with the client, and they said, hey, for just running the ads, we got $30,000 to spend. You can spend any amount you want up to $30,000. I just described a limitation to you. That's one of the first things you hear in a meeting when it comes to how do I run these ads. And they said, we only want our advertising to possibly be in these 5 possibilities. A daytime TV, we want a 1-minute commercial if we go this route. If we go with an evening TV commercial, we want a 30-second spot. The $30,000 you've been handed have nothing to do with creating these. It just has to do with paying this. Here's the cost for each of the ones they're interested in going through. The third one is this big full-page daily ad, running that in the morning journal. That's a big deal. Sunday newspaper, a half-page color ad. Look at that, that's $1,000 for that Sunday half-page color. And a radio spot, 30-second radio spot. Now, when you put this together, you may recommend no radio spots, and you know they're looking at this. They also have another presentation about how much to spend to create these. Are we going to buy a TV commercial that's 60 seconds? Are we going to buy a TV commercial that's 30 seconds? Are we going to buy a radio spot 30 seconds? Are we going to have to pay to have this full-page ad done? That's all the other side, the creative side. Your side is, here's what I think you should spend your $30,000 on among the 5 choices you told me that you want to focus on possibly having your advertising done. Everybody with me so far? So you start gathering information because they just said to you, and believe me, you've got to, I record this meeting, your first one. You're going to have good notes because everything they tell you, you must put in your presentation that you're meeting this criteria. Because they just got done telling you. And with this advertising, we want to make sure we're reaching at least 50,000 potential customers. And so I have met with so many advertising companies. They always have the potential customers that you'll reach. You ever heard of Nielsen ratings and stuff like that? By the way, I just was a Nielsen rater recently. Is anybody, you guys are too young to have been a Nielsen rater. It'll happen like 2 or 3 times in your life. This is my 3rd one in my life, probably my last son. You know, I'm an old man. Go ahead. Hang on, you're going to take me off my story. Hang on, Mike. You ready? Nielsen rating. You know what you got to do? Here's how they entice you to at least look at the letter. They send, you open the envelope, there's cash. You go, what is this with cash? You go, okay, what's going on here? And you read it, and it says, please fill this diary out of what shows you watch on TV. Tell us what channel you watch it, what time you watch it, to what time do you watch, and what's the name of the show. And if you fill this out for 1 week, we're going to send you 20 times the cash we just sent you, in cash. They glue it to the page. Thanks for filling it out. And you go, wow, look at this. And so people, this is how they get people to do these things, by doing this crazy cash. The cash allowed, I got them interested enough to read it, and then offering them a bunch of cash, said, please fill it out with honest responses. What they didn't know is I had almost never watched TV anymore. Almost never. And because I dropped my cable years ago, because it was such a ripoff.
He's Googling TV shows. Yes.
I'm sorry?
I said you're Googling TV shows at that point. Like,
No, I used to. I don't even watch TV anymore at all, but when I first dropped cable, I was using Kodi TV. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but you can get every channel on every cable thing for free if you ever learn how to use Kodi TV. It's a great thing. But you have to update it all the time. It became a pain in the ass, and I just never watched TV. Go ahead.
No notes for the cash. Like, is there a chance I end up ripping it up? Like,
No, who rips up cash? If there was only $1 there, would you rip it up?
no, like in the mail.
Yeah, in the envelope. If there was only $1, you're saying you'd rip it up, or you'd rip off the thing and not fill it out and keep the cash.
No. Like when you get the mail, do you not
When you
immediately
open
notice the dollar?
No,
Or
no.
do you have to open it
They
up?
hide it because the mail would never get to the customer if they didn't hide it.
How many dollars is people working on?
Oh yeah, if they don't open the envelope and rip it up, they're ripping up money. Yeah, absolutely, that's happening. And I'm sure it is. You know, but I open up every envelope. I give all my mail a chance. Because I'm looking for credit card offers to make money off of. I used to make tons of passive income. I take advantage of the 0% offer. No fee, cash advance, $20,000. I'll take it. I invested $20,000 in conservative investments. I made 8%, paid 0%. The spread was in my pocket for doing nothing but being well organized. I did it with another one. I did this for years. I had $80,000 going that I'm making money off their money. And this is how business works. It's called leverage. Every business I've ever been at, I'm using other people's money to make money off of that. And so I applied it to my own life. So I'm opening all the envelopes because I'm looking for the ones that say no interest for a year and no fee for a cash advance. And before the 2008 crash, all of them were saying that. And I was taking advantage of all of them because I had a great credit score and they were throwing tons of money at me. And all I can say is, take $80,000, multiply it by, if it went down because we started getting closer to the crash, multiply it by 5.5%. So I'm going to take 8.5, multiply it by 0.055, divide by 12, and tell me how much I was making a month for not doing anything. Just keeping a calendar and making sure I make the monthly minimum payment so I keep the 0%. 80,000 times 0.055 is how much? How much? 4,000 divided by 12. So I was getting an extra $333 a month in interest that I had to pay taxes on. It's taxable interest. But, you know, it's like a car payment for just having good credit and having money thrown at me that cost me nothing. The deal is, I never treated it as my own money. It was always their money. And when that 0% offer comes to the end, I would transfer it to another 0% with no fee. But if I couldn't, after the 2008 crash, that was the end of no fee, 0%. So when they came to the end, 2009, 2010, 2011, I'm writing big checks and paying the whole thing off because there's no more 0%. And so there's no way I'm going to keep doing it. But it lasted for years. All that money for free for years. The point I'm trying to make is that you are putting this proposal together. This cost right here has got to stay under 30,000. The number of potential customers that can be reached has got to be over 50,000. Here's the most. If you decide to recommend daytime TV ads, you can't recommend more than 15. You check with the TV, the whole thing. This is the most that will fit in that month. 10 for the second TV, 25 for daily newspaper, 4 for Sunday newspaper, 30 radio ads for the month. 1 a day, or you could have them all 15 days. Now this, called exposure quality. This is where they take everything into consideration, and it's like an index as to, let me put it this way, the higher the quality index is, the better value you're getting for your buck. That's kind of how I would put it. So the company says, you ready? You are about to put a presentation together, and you have variables involved that represent the decisions that have to be made. And I'm asking you, have you thought about how many variables are involved in this question? How many decisions are there? Nobody has a clue yet? Not yet? A guess? Bailey? Oh, that's not here. We'll hear his name on the video. Anybody? Yes, Angela.
40.
How many?
40?
40? No. What? In real life, there are a bunch of them for you, but what are you presenting to them? What is it they have to decide to accept your proposal? What is it you're trying to talk them into with this $30,000?
You're trying to convince them that this is the best possible plan to reach the most amount of.
What's the plan though? When you say best possible plan, what plan?
To get them to buy your product.
What product are you getting to buy? Go farther.
I don't know. Okay, a lake development corporation, you want them to buy houses or land.
Stop that. The answer, here, go, please.
I was gonna say, highest objective function value.
No, forget the objective function. Decisions. You guys, look at this. You're putting a proposal together for this client that you're trying to tell them what decision to be made here. What's the decision to be made?
What kind of media?
Yes. Everybody hear this? He's saying the decision to be made is what forms of media are you going to use for this advertising blip? How many different decisions are there of that? Yes, say it again.
5.
5. Because there's only 5 pieces of media available from the meeting. And you're coming back and you're saying, here's the best way to spend that $30,000 among these 5 choices. Now let's take it a step farther. I'm putting the letter, you gotta make sure, I don't know, I'm gonna go with 1, the letter A. Go with A with the first one. Now define it with words, and don't just say A equals daytime TV. That's not enough. A equals what about daytime TV? Say it. Say it again. I hear someone
A
speaking.
1-minute advertisements for daytime TV.
A 1-minute advertisement for daytime TV is what is,
Quantity of it.
that's it. How many daytime TV ads should be run? It could be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You gotta stay within 30,000. Now the second variable is B. What does B represent if you were defining it on a quiz that I want so badly for you to get an A on? What would you define it? Jump in. The second one down. What is it?
It's the number of.
The number of.
30-second TV ads.
You get it? So many people are answering these. B is evening TV. C is daily newspaper. It's not. You gotta have the words. It's how many TV ads, how many daily newspapers, how many radio ads, how many Sunday papers, and how many evening. 5 variables, because there's 5 decisions to be made. And you want them to make the decision based on whatever objective you were able to discover in that meeting. The information gathering meeting is the most important meeting. You're first meeting your clients for the first time, the potential clients, and you want to put together a proposal that meets their needs. It's called Need Discovery Marketing Major Sales Class. I don't know if everybody has to take a sales class, but everybody should. No matter what your major is, you're going to have situations where you have to do sales. I was a finance person. I'm overseeing all the accounting and finance. Yet I had to do a part of a grant proposal. And I had to go with the management team to Lansing to put a presentation on to try to get this grant because I did the financial part of it. But, you know, what's the deal? I'm accounting, I'm a finance. Why am I putting together a presentation trying to sell somebody? Because no matter what part of the business you work in, you are going to have these things where you have to be able to sell. You have to be able to communicate what's going on.
How long would you say like the average time is for a proposal, like to give your proposal after meeting with them?
They'll fall asleep if you go longer than an hour. You kind of let them. You want to get to a point where they're asking questions. That's when your proposal's going well.
I'm saying, so like how long do you have to make your proposal?
It's different all around. But in this case, because they know you know how to use management science, they're giving you got to have your proposal done in 2 days. Right? So, but all it's going to take you is a matter of minutes to figure out the perfect combination of these 5 media types for this client. Just minutes. When you start getting used to doing linear programming, you're going to be able to recognize, oh, there's 5 decisions. I'll use 5 variables. Oh, look at this. My note says we have to reach at least 50,000 potential clients. So I got to take my 5 variables and put the potential clients with them and make sure it's greater than 50,000. Let me get to another one here. Ready? They also said there's only $30,000 to spend. So I got to take each one of my variables and turn them into costs and make sure it's less than or equal to $30,000. I gotta take my variables, and they said, no more than $18,000 can be spent on TV.
Oh, so now we're making our constraints.
They're all constraints, they're all limitations, that's right. That's what you're picking up, and the information gathering. What is it that's gonna limit me at just saying, you know, let's do them all, you know, and it's the limitations. Number one, they always hit you with what the budget is, 30,000. You know, don't be like most marketing people. Well, I'll spend every penny of that. You come back and said you only need to spend 28,000. They love your proposal. They already love you. That first sentence. Look at, I came up with this. You only need to spend 28,000. You can keep 2,000. There you go. The jaw's gonna drop. What? We've never had a presentation that says we can keep 2,000. Everybody says spend it all, every penny. That's the usual routine with marketing. Now, what else are they saying? Reach 50,000 people, no more than 18,000. Oh, if you decide to include TV in your proposal, we want at least 10 TVs, so you must include TV. They said, look, whatever, magazine, newspaper, radio, we want at least 10 being those TV options. Let's go here, right here, let's write this constraint. We want at least 10, greater than or equal to 10. We want at least 10 TV ads, greater than or equal to 10. Say, Josie. Greater than, I was right behind you. Greater than or equal to 10. Now, look at the variables. I don't remember the variables being used on this PowerPoint, but we just said A, B, C, D, E, right? Okay. What variables answers this question on the left? The client said we want no more than 10 TV ads. What variables are going to answer that request? A and B. A and B. A is the number of TV ads during the day. B is the number of TV ads in the evening. And we need at least 10, whichever way this is going to go with these TV ads. 50,000 potential customers. At least 50,000. Less than equal, greater than equal, equal to 50,000. Yeah, at least 50,000. Now, no matter what the combination is of what you're suggesting to go with media, we've got to reach 50,000 or more. Okay, well, if we go with A, that's TV ads, but this represents how many TV ads we got to convert it to potential customers. 1,000 for every TV ad. Plus, evening TV, 2,000. B, plus, daily newspaper, 1,500. C, plus 2,500 on that Sunday newspaper. In the old days, everybody read the Sunday newspaper. D, plus the radio ads. You're wasting money. E, you don't have reaching a potential 300. Now, I want to make sure you're seeing this in real life. The advertising companies, for those Nielsen ratings and all the other research they do, they have the potential customers being reached. It's a very common statistic that all advertising companies have. In this case though, when they met with the client said, the client gave you a sentence that you marked down, and they said, listen, our potential customers are middle and upper income families within 100 miles from this development. This is what the company's doing. They're hiring you to sell residential houses. They bought this big property on this private lake, and they're about to build all these condos or houses or whatever they are, and this is what the advertising delivered. We want these sold before we finish building because everybody will put a down payment down, and that will help our cash flow. Because we have no money coming in while we're building them until we get paid from the people who buy them. And they want that money back because they sell them for more than what it costs to build. So the advertising firm said, okay, there's about 5,000 being reached with this TV ad, but then they said, according to the TV company, the 5,000's within 200 miles. So they said, well, how many? They went ahead and took that information, and they have demographics. Every TV station rating, they have demographics. And they said, out of that, what I say is a reaching here? 2,000, 5,000? Out of that 5,000, 20% of them are under the age of 30. 10% between 30 and 40, and they're males or females or something like that. You take that data, and you're going to pull out just the ones that meet the client's potential customers. And they said middle to higher economic income within 100 miles. You're picking that all out, and that's where this number comes from. Out of that 5,000, if we do this, your potential customers are 1,000. Same with each one of these. Because of the information gathering meeting you have, you're tailoring to what they feel their potential customers are. So you're not going to lie to them and say, oh, you're going to reach 20,000 potential customers. No, you're reaching 20,000 people, but out of that, 1,000 are exactly the kind of customer you're looking for. And same with here and here and here. All the other potential people watching it are gone, only the ones that meet the criteria that you picked up on during the information gathering. And that's where you came up with those numbers. Now, there's one sentence I want to point out here, right here. They said the objective is to maximize reach, frequency, and quality of exposure. These are common. I'm sorry, these are the common ones for media selection. The customer, the client will say, we want to maximize the number of people we reach. That's a common objective of companies that possibly will hire you. We want the maximum frequency. We want it to run. I'm telling you, I'm not a big fan of that, but a lot of advertising companies are saying, you run that ad for 1 month so many times that the average person hears it at least 30 times. They'll tend to hate the ad, but they'll remember you. That's kind of their philosophy. So some companies say, we want it to run as many times as possible for the 30,000. But this company that you're talking with, they said, we want the best quality value for the price, which is this last one. This is, in this project, this problem we're talking about, they want quality of exposure. So look at this. Look for quality of exposure. You see it? Where, which column? The last one on the far right. Those are the numbers you're using for your objective function, because in your information gathering, they said, whatever you're going to recommend, we want the best quality exposure we can get. What's better, a lower number or a higher number here? Is this a max problem or a min problem? Max. You got it. You got it. Max, you know, we're max. 65A plus 90B plus 40C plus 60D plus 20E. There's your objective function, based on a sentence. And believe me, the problem on the quiz will have a sentence that's trying to steer you toward recognizing the objective of this. Okay, everybody with me so far? You're going to see 5 of these before the quiz at least, because I need you to get used to be able to say, okay, what are the decisions? What's the objective? You know, what's the other limitations that they're talking about? And so we're going to now, here's the variables that are used in the PowerPoint. Our A is daytime TV, our B is evening TV, our C is daily newspaper, our D is Sunday newspaper, and our E is radio, but we're going with these now. So our objective function is each exposure number next to each one of those variables added together with the word max. Hang on. There it is, being circled. Here's your client's objective, the exposure quality. Now turn those numbers into there. Max, 65, 90, 40, 60, 20, next to the variable. Next, there's only so many of each ad you can do in a month. There's a max. Daytime TV, less than equal to 15. Evening TV, less than equal to 10. Daily newspaper, less than equal to 25. Sunday newspaper, 4. Radio, less than equal to 30. That is from this column. Look. The maximum number you can run. And look at this. The cost. What is this related to? What is it you gather from the clients that this cost is related to? How much was it? 30,000. The 30,000 budget. So you should have a constraint that takes those costs for each one and makes it less than equal to 30,000. Daytime TV is 1,500, 3,000, $400, 1,000, 100, less than equal to 30,000. There's the budget sentence they gave you. Here's the one for television. They said, we want it, if you need to go with television in your recommendation, because we want at least 10 of them on television. And we said right here, daytime TV, evening TV, greater than equal to 10. Daytime TV, evening TV, greater than equal to 10. They said, no, wait, that was the tough one. They said, we want to reach at least 15,000 customers. Well, 1,000 is the potential customers for daytime, 2,000 for evening, 1,500 for daily newspaper, $2,500 for Sunday newspaper, and 300 for radio. I almost said 30,000. Hey, by the way, this greater than zero thing, in this class, if you notice, Excel never needs this, the software never needs this. It is assumed that these variables will either be zero or a positive number. They'll never be negative. So you don't need to include it on your answers in the homework. You don't need to include it on a quiz. You don't need to put it on spreadsheets or the software. It's never, for this whole semester, just forget about that. We're not getting into negative possibility of variables. It's a whole other area. Last, this sentence right here. I want to make sure we read the sentence so you can see that 18,000. They said no more than $18,000 to be spent on TV. Out of the 30,000, don't spend more than 18,000 on TV. And that puts a lot of pressure on you because you have to also have at least 10 TV ads in the mix. So just the TV variables times their price for each one. Daytime TV is costing $1,500 for each one. Evenings $3,000 for each one. When added together on the money spent on TV, it's got to be less than 18,000. And that's everything. Let's look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 constraints. 5 variables. You ready? You take all those and you enter it into this. Let me scroll up a little. Everybody see this? Look at, there's my 9 constraints. There's all the numbers. You can only have 15 daytime. You can only have up to 10 evening TV, and so on and so on. All right? Here's where my optimal solution I wanted to arrive. Max. I want to maximize that exposure quality. So this should be going to where the exposure quality is. I don't remember where it is. Oh, it's in there. Right here. 65, 90, 40, 60, 70. Right there. These are where your answers are in every one of these equations, because these are the variables that are in every one of these equations. Look at this one. First constraint is going to use, for sure, E10, F10, G10. What does it say 18? That's not a 10? That's an 18, sorry. E18, F18, G18, H18, I18. But then it's multiplying all those by the numbers representing constraint 1. 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. Here, less than, less than, less than, less than, greater than, less than, greater than. The reason I'm pointing this out, now I'm going to show you you can combine constraints. You don't have to type in every constraint. Solver will let you put constraints together as long as they're all the same symbol. For the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For these first 6, they're all less than, so I'm putting them together in Solver. There we go. Data. Solver. Let's see. Is the objective function in E20? Yes, it is. Is this a max? Yes, it is. The optimal solution is supposed to be in E18 all the way to I18. Is that an I? Yeah. That is an I? And up here, it looks like it. I guess it is. Look at this constraint. I already did it. I didn't realize I had it already done. I thought I was going to be doing it right now. But E22 through E27, E22 to E27, all of those that are less than, are all combined together less than equal to K22, K27. K22 through K27, they're all less than. Now the next one's a greater than. It's by itself, E29, K29. And then, whoop, oh, that one. I got them out of order. And then the greater than, E30, greater than equal to, did I skip one? Why does that not look right? 27, where's E28? It's right there. Okay, E29 is less than, and then back to a greater than. Up close, you can't tell. E28 is greater than, E29 is less than, E30 is greater than, back to greater. They're individually done because they weren't right next to each other with the same symbol. They switched symbols. How do I solve this? You got to have this box checked. You got to have this on simplex. When you click solve, what 2 other things do we want as part of our answer? That's right, answer and sensitivity reports. Click OK. You're now, that's how long it takes. When you're ready to go to the client, you're going to make it look good now. You're spending the rest of the day and a half you have left to go give your presentation. making this all look good. But the answer you're giving them, there's no better answer. To maximize that exposure quality, this is it. And that's the point you're going to make when you meet with these clients. You're going to say, look, I'm within your, matter of fact, how much are we spending? Look at the right-hand constraints, look at the left hand. Anybody see the budget? What's the right hand say on the budget? Anybody figure it out? Which one's budget? Which constraint? 30,000. Look for the 30,000 right hand side now compared to the left. What's the left hand side? Yeah. We are not going to be able to have that deal clenching closing moment where we say, and you don't have to spend all 30,000 in this case. But that is a big deal in real life. You get to say, and you don't even need to spend all 30,000. In this case, yes, in order to maximize that exposure quality with what we're recommending, you will have to spend all 30,000. We're recommending 10 daytime TV ads. We're recommending 0 evening ads. We're recommending 25 daily newspaper ads, 2 Sunday full page ads, and 30 radio. And that will get you the best quality exposure rating possible. And what is the maximum exposure quality they could possibly get? What is it? What's the exposure rating that we got the very best of for them with this combination? Come on.
2,370.
There it is. The objective function value represents that exposure, what we were trying to get for them as an objective. That's the most you're going to get that quality rating on this $30,000 with the limitations that we presented in the meeting. Also, if you forget one of the limitations, if you're putting together your linear programming, do not say, I think it was this. You call them. You do not want to use something different than what they told you in that information gathering. That's how important that information gathering is. All of life sales is, how do we meet the client's needs? How do we meet their needs? And not just some of their needs. Every need they presented to you in the information gathering, you're trying to figure out how to meet all their needs because you want this bid. You want the client. There it is. All right? Give me at least one binding constraint. We're just looking at this output. Just one binding constraint. Constraint what? 6. Let me look at 6. Well, that was easy. 30,000, 30,000, 0 slack. 6 is a binding constraint, isn't it? You jump in.
String 3.
Oh,
That was my question.
No, get your question.
Just out of curiosity, how would you present, like, how you went about finding it? Like, how much detail would you go into?
I don't know. I actually, every presentation I've been involved in, I'm on the other side of the presentation.
Okay.
And no one's ever used linear programming in their presentation.
Okay.
Never. But at least they've never communicated with me they did. So I don't know. Another binding constraint you just said was 3. 25 we're using, and 25 was the amount. This represented the maximum number of daily newspaper, I think. And we're doing all 25, just to double check. Look at that, we are doing 25. Okay, we're going on to another one. Go ahead.
It's not a dumb question, but how do you tell it's a binding constraint?
Because there's no slack. The left-hand side of the constraint equals the right-hand side of the constraint, which, look at this one. Hey, we want to make sure you're reaching at least 50,000 potential customers. How many potential customers are we reaching with this recommendation? There you go. We're meeting at least 50,000. Matter of fact, you go with our recommendation, you're going to be reaching 61,500 potential customers. Now, in this case, during the presentation, I will make it clear how we came up with this number. And I would even say, the other bids you're getting, they may not have gotten the specifics of each potential human being reached and then separated out those that are not your potential customers. And they may have a higher number than that. But we, our business, we focused on taking the 20,000, for example, and pinpointing how many of those are truly your potential customers within a 100-mile radius, like you said in the information gathering. And then you go, and even taking all of that out, and only 1,000 are really your potential customers if you do daytime TV, you're going to still reach 61,500 true potential customers that meet the description you gave us. That's how it's done. You just hit them with the facts, you overcome their objectives, their objections, I mean. They're going to have some objections, you overcome them, you explain the situation. And I can tell you right now, when you have a meeting with a 0 for evening TV, that's going to be the first thing they're going, well, why no evening TV? We really thought you were going to, blah, blah, blah. And I'd quickly point out, this is less money you have to spend because you would have to create a different ad for this TV than that because they're different. One's 60 second, one's 30. The thousands of dollars you're going to save by not having to produce a second ad makes this really a pretty good opportunity. You turn their negative into a positive, six people. Where are you? Can you? You turn their negative into a positive.
In the game.
Which it wasn't. You ready? Here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see our answer compared to theirs. 10. See, look at evening TV's not even there. Just going to, we're spending all 30,000. But we have the best quality exposure you could possibly get with this combination. Okay, research marketing firm. We only have time for 2 today. Research, let's get to a fun one. Hang on, let's get to a fun one. Let's do this one. Call it an audible. Audible. Switching gears. Z5. Let's do it. Ready? The story is right on the output. This should be posted. I hope it is. Now, I love this one because I knew somebody when they graduated from college. They said, "Man, I am burnt out. I want some time off. I'm going down to the Virgin Islands and just hang out for a year." That was the plan. All right. So you got to now. I'm gonna. This scenario is kind of like that. You know, they're there and they're saying, "Wow, why aren't there boat rentals going on here? Why aren't all these people coming off these cruise ships to the Virgin Islands? They want to do activities. They're here for like 3-4 hours. Why isn't anybody renting them boats?" And you're there trying to reduce your stress. You just got out of college. And by the way, if you have that much stress graduating from college, you might as well forget about working. Because college is nothing compared to a real job as far as stress is concerned. But here's the deal. You're going, I'm going to test this out. I'm going to just buy a couple of boats, you know, and then see if I can rent them. And this person says, "Man, not only can I rent them, I'm getting so many requests to rent these boats, and they're constantly already rented, that I'm losing a ton of opportunity money because of the amount I could rent." So you're going, possibly, you know, if you're the person who's down this island, you're going, "Hey, man, I'm not going back. I'm going to start a business here. I'm going to take that last of my student loans that I haven't spent yet, and I'm going to go to somebody and I'm going to ask to borrow money." And in the old days, as long as you're putting up at least 10% of the big picture money, you'll probably get approved for the loan unless you've got bad credit and stuff like that. But 10% used to be the kind of the benchmark for getting a loan for a small business. They always used to say, you got to have skin in the game is what the response used to be. So they want 10% or 15% or 20% of your money involved if they're willing to risk their money. If you take out, we want you to lose money because we're going to lose money. That was kind of their philosophy. So you went and said, "I'm putting up 42,000 and I'm borrowing the rest of this 420,000 for this expansion based on, you know, number of times I'm being asked to rent boats and I have no boats. I know if I have this many boats, I can rent them all and make this payment on this loan, no problem." And you put this whole business plan together, exactly how much you're going to get for every time you rent a boat, and how many you predict boats you're going to rent in a day, and so on and so on. And sure enough, you said, and you've been, the boats you bought from have been these 2 different boats from 2 manufacturers. One is called Sleek Boat, one's Racer. And you want to, you know, you get this loan, you're trying to figure out, well, how many boats should I buy? I mean, how many boats will this get me, this $420,000? And so you get prices on every boat. Sleek Boat said, "Hey, look, we just have 2 boats that would really work for what you want to use it for, this rental thing and stuff like that. And these 2 boats, this boat costs $6,000 for each one. This one costs $7,000. And then the Racer manufacturer said, we also have 2 boats for you that will fit the scenario you want to use. The Catman and the Classy, $5,000 and $9,000. Why is this $9,000 so much more expensive? There it is. This boat seats 6. Where this inexpensive boat only seats 2. Very different scenario. The bigger the boat, the more money it costs. That's obvious. And we went back and said, when we put our business plan together to get this loan, we know, based on what we've been charging for boats similar to this, and we increase it and decrease it based on, because our boats only have 3 passengers, but we can figure out what a 5 and 6 will get us. We we know that we'll make $70 profit, I believe this is per day, renting this boat out. 80 for that one, 50 for this real small one, and 110 if someone comes and rents the big one. Okay, that's our daily profit. And how we're gonna spend the 420,000. And here's the deal. This is real, because I've had this happen to me. You are about to spend a bunch of money buying these boats, and you have a really good rapport going with these two manufacturing reps that you've been talking to, getting all these numbers. And so you want to keep this good relationship going, because there's huge benefits to having good relationships with the manufacturers and the suppliers. It's all about building relationships in business. Let me make sure I key in on that, because this is a life advice. In any business you're in, it's all about building relationships, creating trust, building relationships. That's how you get your business to be successful. That's the key. And through that, you want to keep that good relationship. So you said, whatever combination of boats I'm buying, I'm going to buy the same amount from each of you. I'm going to keep this fair because I appreciate your help so much, and I know how much future help you're giving. Here's the future help that I used to get with this computer company I was working at. AMD and Intel and every computer, you guys, your laptops, they all have the same parts inside. Each computer company, it was our case, it was our tower. But the parts inside, the motherboard, we're all getting back, this is back a long time ago, so there's only maybe 3 different companies you can get motherboards from. Dell and Hewlett-Packard, we're all getting the same motherboard. We all have the same parts. We're all getting, this is before flash drives, we're all getting the same hard drives from Seagate, it's been a long time, Seagate, and I can't remember the other supplier we have. We're all. So what's happening is, here's the advantage. If I have a good relationship with Intel, and you can consider this with all these manufacturers, when you start to get your business and you're building it, they want to help you. They're all about saying, we want your business to be more successful, because the more successful you are, the more stuff you're going to buy from us, and the more successful we'll be. And they would always offer you campaign help. They called it campaign finances. We want to help you with your campaign. Advertising. That's what it was. Advertising. And I got something here I downloaded, because I wondered if we would talk about this. And Intel used to tell me, you run your TV ads and you... What? What? Damn. I thought I had this. Shoot. Hang on. What is going on? Oh, I don't have it hooked up. Is that what's going on? Darn. As long as we put...
Hit Alt and...
I don't. If I unhook this, we won't have a picture anymore. And this is why I'm not touching it, because I couldn't get this to work. And look what that sounded. Dum dum dum. Anybody know the Intel sound at the end of a commercial? Dum dum dum. That's all we had to put in our commercial at the end, was the Intel thing. The dum dum dum. They paid 50% of the ad. For that last 4 seconds, they would pay 50% of it.
Because they also maintain the brand image.
Yeah. And they want us to be successful. You're a growing company. You're at the beginning of your cycle. We want to help you. Just put that little Intel at the end of your ad, and we'll pay 50% of creating the ad. We'll pay. Oh, you guys. Thank you. What did I just? Everybody read my emails? Is that what it was? And what's happening? By the way, did you see how many things I made tonight? There are 70 assignments handed into my inbox I got grade tonight. I try to grade as fast as I can, because online they get to hand in their missing items just like you do, so I want to get back to it as fast as I can. Oh damn! I was on the boat one. We're gonna run out of time. Let's keep going. You ready? So by buying the same amount of boats from each manufacturer, they're probably going to help you out along the way. That's what they're all about. So that's why you want to keep this good relationship. But how do you turn this into a constraint? How do you say, yeah, I want to buy the same boats from each person? First of all, how many decisions are there that need to be made about this $420,000 we're about to spend? How many decisions are there? 4. Exactly. Everybody hear that? 4 variables, 4 decisions. You recognize it this time. Most of you said 4. I've heard it. And what you're saying is, the decision is, how many of those, how many of those, how many of those, how many of those, there's my $420,000, or up to it. Get it? Those are the 4 decisions. The statement, however many I buy from you, sleep boat rep, I'm gonna also buy from you, racer rep. You ready? We're gonna let's just call these variables A, B, C, D. Give me the variables for the sleep boat rep that you just told you're gonna buy the same amount from. Throw in the variables for sleep boat. A and B. A plus B. However many of those boats from this company, I'm gonna also buy the same amount from that company. That is the constraint from that statement. But you can't enter this and solve it this way. We're now at the point to where you need to realize every constraint's right-hand side can no longer have variables. No variables. You write it with variables because you put the logic down in the equation, and now you use algebra to get all variables to the left side. In this case, one, nothing left on the right. What? I'm going to subtract C on both sides. I'm going to subtract D on both sides. And I get A plus B minus C minus D. And I got nothing left on the right, but there has to be a number on the right. Give me the number, I heard it. There it is. Now you have a constraint that can be entered. It will be a 1 under the A, a 1 under the B, a -1 under the C, a -1 under the D. You use an equal sign and you put 0. Just do the money. You ready? I only have 420,000 to spend. Less than equal, greater than equal 420,000. Less than equal 420. I'm just putting a K, means 1,000. I got 4 boats I could buy, but we got to turn it into money being spent. How much are we going to spend if we go with boat A? 6,000 A plus the other boat. 7,000 B and the other boat. 5,000 C plus the big boat. 9,000 D. All these boats we're going to buy times the amount we got to spend to get them. Got to be less than 420,000. And then it says same amount from each one. Oh, we want, however we're going to spend this money. We don't want, if we buy nothing but the big boat, it could be a harm in our business. So we want a combination that will be at least 50 boats. So this 420,000 has got to get us 50 boats. So A plus B plus C plus D greater than equal to 50. How many boats of A, however many boats of B, plus however many boats of C, however many boats of D, we have to have at least 50 boats. That's our goal with this money. At least 50. We hope to get more. 50 boats, same number of sleep boat as from Racer for the goodwill or building relationship. At the same time, we wish, and whatever boats we're buying, when we get done spending all that money, the boat seating capacities have got to be more than 200. We want to be able to have seats for 200 customers with these boats. So we got to turn at least 200, right? Go back over here. Greater than equal 200 or less than equal 200? Greater than equal to 200, but this is seat capacity. A is the number of that first boat. Help me turn it into seating capacity. What's A? 3A plus 5B plus 2C plus 6D. However many boats of D is going to get us 6 seats, and this one will get us 2 and 5 and 3. The combination needs to be greater than 200 seats total. Those are our limitations. Less than equal $420,000 to spend. Greater than equal 50 boats we want at least. 0 because we want to buy the same amount of boats from each manufacturer. And 200 seats right there. Look at this. What's the objective? What's the objective? Our goal is to do what? When we start with all these new boats, we're now reopening our business.
Sell the most
Maximize profit. That's the only thing that's on here left. Here's our profit. And this is what we're maximizing. Max, here we go, $70 for every boat A. Is that $80 for every B? $50 for every C.
110.
Thank you. D, there's our objective function. We're at a point now where I think it's fair for me to take 50 points off your quiz if you put an equal sign or a less than equal or a greater than equal anywhere on this objective function. I think we're at that point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Warning. That's a pet peeve. You guys gotta realize, an objective function never has an equality or inequality. It's not part of it at all. It's just either being maximized or minimized. Let's solve it. What's gonna happen? My question is, when you look at this answer, you tell me, are we buying the same amount of bolts from each manufacturer so we can keep this goodwill and get help with advertising when we're building our business? Let's see, data, solver. It's in here. I thought this would be blank. E16 is the objective function. E14 through H, you see, E14, F14, H14. E19 less than equal to L19, is that L over here? Wow, way over here. L19. E20 is greater than equal L20. This one's equal, E21 equal to L21, and this last one here is E22 is greater than L22. We make sure this box is checked, we make sure we got this on the simplex method, we go here, what two reports do we want? Oh, you guys get me all about it now. You know, that was a true participation. Remind me to write down here. Where are we now? You ready? How many votes? What is this? What happened here? When you got to go back to this. Is this ours? No. All right. You ready? Are we buying the same amount of boats from each manufacturer? Yes or no?
Yes.
One manufacturer is A and B, or X1, X2. The other manufacturer is 3 and 4. 28 and 28 from each manufacturer. Are we getting at least 50 boats? And how many? 56 boats. 28 and 28. Are we, let me look at here, how many seating capacity with this combination of 56 boats are we going to reach? Is it more than 200 seats, yes or no? Yes. How many seats? 252. Yeah, 252. We're 52 over our goal with this combination of boats. So far, everything's looking really good, isn't it? And how much money do we have left over out of the 420,000 that we got to do other things with? Zero. That's right. We're spending every penny of the 420,000. As you can see, the left-hand side is what we're spending. The right-hand side is how much our budget was. In this case, we're spending every penny. We wanted 50 boats. We're going to get 56. We wanted the same amount of boats from each one. We got the same amount of boats from each one. And we wanted at least 200 seating capacity. We got 252. Name one of the combining constraints. Constraint 1, constraint 3 also. Those are the two binding constraints. How did they see it? Come on, everybody, tell me. Where the right side and left side are the same, that means there's no slack or surplus. Would it be slack or surplus on this first one? If there was anything, even if it's zero, zero what? Slack, because it's less than equal. That's all you got to look at. Really? Right? It's 56, greater than, it's not that. 0, 0. This last one, look at this. 252, 200. 52 units of what? Surplus, because it's greater than equal. Have a great weekend. Tuesday's our lecture and Thursday's our quiz.